was just recording myself on like things, and so I'll repeat what I said. I haven't been having a great deal of positive mind frame. Dealing with, I guess, my mental disability. I'm never in a great state of mind, or I'm never stable, you know. But it's because there's just constant, stress inducers and enhancers, and a lot of stimuli around, and it stresses me out a lot, especially when I deal with symptoms. And yes, I'm homeless and I'm still on the streets, but for now I'm in a safe environment, but it's still dangerous. It's not very safe at all, because you deal with different personalities. And although being off the streets momentarily, these few times has been great, it's also unstabling, because I've gotten used of being with just my mind frame, just dealing with myself, just working with myself, and just doing things that myself needs done, especially when I was on the streets. I didn't do much but what I needed to get done, and for that day to endure to the next day. And I am now with a group of people. I occasionally deal with a group at a time, a few people at a time, if it's not one, and one is already good enough. They may not be doing nothing, but the sounds they make is so stimulating that it triggers everything that I deal with as a person that deals with borderline personality, schizoaffective, anxiety, depression, and PTSD, and it's not self-diagnosed. I do have psychiatry. For my borderline personality, I have a psychiatrist whose name is Dr. Terrence Wade. Although he annoys the shit out of me with his personality disorder, he still gave me very vital coping skills that I can use every once in a while if I get homicidal in my mind sometimes, because sometimes I actually do get homicidal. There's times where it's just self-inducing, pain-inducing thoughts, because I burn myself a lot. I burn my thighs and my arms a lot more than I talk. And if you think I'm talking a lot now, try to imagine the amount of burns that I have on my legs and my arms. It's because these things are just so self-inducing. And if I'm not on medication constantly, the good strain or a very strong sedative, I have to do things coping-wise. And if I don't do it coping-wise, I explode. And so, momentarily, right now, at this moment, during certain hours and certain times of the day and night, I'm around a group of people. And it's so uncomfortable, because I'm not used to being around groups of people anymore. I'm just used to being on my own. And these people are impersonators, but they're here to get a job done from somebody else who's telling them to do it, And the thing is when they do it, it troubles me. It puts me in a different world, And so it just reminds me of just such cruel people, because you take the most vile person or the most vile things in the world, you mash them up and you put it in a human being. I think it will only take that much just for somebody to cause so much stress-inducing things to happen around them, And, sometimes when I'm going through these symptoms, I feel like somebody is actually stress-inducing these things, They're actually doing it to stress me out, and it's just so uncomfortable, because you're like, why are you doing it? And then you become a certain way, you know? And so I can't deal with these negativities and this harsh lifestyle of living under another person's roof. That's why I will always be on the streets, you know? Because it's so hard with my symptoms and the negative and the meanness, you know? Because there's not a lot of nice things that are said and done around me during the process of me being from house to house or from street to street or park to park. And unless I'm by myself, isolating myself and all that stuff, I feel like I'm no longer safe, you know? And it increases the feeling of not wanting to be around anybody, you know? And you meet the right people, but you meet the wrong people at the same time, you know? Just because they have some type of cognitive profession or some kind of human being, some kind of profession, some kind of lifestyle, some kind of way of living, it doesn't mean it's for you. You know, it may catch your eye, and it may you know, attract you, but it doesn't mean that it's for you. You know, that's what you call eye candy. You know, so you go eye shopping because you want to make sure you get the right thing. Even though everything looks great, it's not all for you. There's always something out there that's for you. And at times it may not catch your eye at the beginning, but if you keep looking, it'll be there. Yep, right? And there's times when I think that because I see that what she's saying is attractive towards the professionalism of my mind or the scientific part of my mind or the creative thinking of my mind or any part of the area of my brain that just gets enhanced, you know, or she or he, you know, I start to cling on to what they say even the more, you know, and I start to listen to them more often, not recognizing that not everything is edifying and not everything is, you know, resourceful or for you. And like, not only that, and sometimes I get carried away with my thinking and my feeling, and so being around people or stuff like that, if it's not at the right moment, it's just not a safe environment for me. And being in a program, it doesn't help because they don't do as I say to stop. They do as they want. Like, my life is based on a policy, not on the way that I live and how I am. You know, they rather record every factor of my negative feeling than every factor of the positive. You know, they rather take time to induce pain in me than to let me just show them who I really am. You know, I deal with the strangest part of them. I don't deal with the real part of people. I deal with the strangest part of them. You know, I already don't see people in the same light as everybody else. So to always be looked at as that, and to always be around these different characters, you know, sometimes you just don't see them in the right light anymore. Especially when it's just the same things over and over again, you know, because somebody wants it their way. I am sorry for some people, you know, like, because sometimes I imagine throughout my schizoaffective and my bipolar, schizophrenic and bipolar I imagine things and I think about other people in their situation, because I know there's other people out there that deal with more stress than I do. You know, I know there's people out there that deal with a lot more than me. You know, like there's wives and husbands being beat up. There's children getting mistreated. There's elderlies, you know, and so I think about these people who are also in their own personal trap. You know, not a trap that you created for yourself, but a trap that you accidentally walked into. Like one of those things where you attract your mind for a second, and that split second is what caused you to lose it. You know, and wishing that you hadn't. And so, say you're sitting down and you know, you're just minding your own business, but because whoever walked past by you attract you, it caught you for that split second, and then boom, you spilled your tea while you were trying to drink it. You know, that's how life gets you. That split few seconds. And it's so unfortunate that I had my split seconds, you know, a few years ago, but it still is lingering on with me now, you know. And it's not the amount of the length of life that you live in troubles because of that few seconds, but it's because of the fact that, you know, finding the solution out of that predicament is a difficult, you know, that's what makes it hard. And I'm right now, it's been almost 2 months now, and I'm still struggling, you know. I'm still struggling in trying to find my social life, or the living in the house life, or anything else other than, you know, feeling abandoned, neglected, homeless, on the streets, kicked out because you're mentally ill, you know, put down, always been told no. I can never keep a job because nobody wants me there, but they want me to help out a lot, you know. I worked a lot. Before all of this started, I had a job, a very good job. I worked and I was athletic. I went to the gym a lot. I went to many gyms. And even though nobody understood why I was there every day, I still went there every day. I enjoyed it, you know. It comforted me. My mind was straight. I was able to deal with my schizoaffective in a good manner, you know. I took my aggression out in a good manner. And being that I've been in this few seconds, you know, remember when I told you it just takes a few seconds to take you captive, you know. And during the time that few seconds happened to me, I became in a trap. And I realized I stopped going to the gym. You know, I stopped concentrating in school. I stopped. I got wrongfully fired from my job. Blazing Steakhouse fired me wrongfully. Chili's fired me wrongfully. They just fired me out and just said it's your perception. It's how you perceive it. You know, Chili said that. Chili fired me, and I said, how could you fire me? That's wrong. It's how you perceive it, is what the last words they said. And they closed the door on me. And then Buffalo Wild Wings, they lied saying that I was groping on people, but I hardly talk to people. And he let me go before I even can say hello, you know. And he let me go with tears. Not as if he didn't want to, but he had to. And I've always had a shorthand of the stick, and I got traumatized. Started working again at 7-Eleven, and I freaked out as if it's going to happen again. And within 2 weeks, I quit, And, a lot of times, I think about those moments because I took a manager home one day, when I was working at Chili's, and we were sitting down in the car, and all of a sudden, all you hear is your manager say, "I did this to you," as if my mind was already fucked before I even know it, Your own manager knows they fucked you up, but they do nothing about it. Your own family knows that they're bully, but, they just go with it. And it's hard on my part to readjust from that, And the postpartum that I have makes it more difficult, The anxiety that I have only puts the icing on the cake. And then after all of this, I get a deep depression, And if not after, but during, And this is where self-harming comes along. And the only medication that really helps me is marijuana, because it calms all those down almost instantly. And it's what I need, rather than taking a pill and having to wait 2 hours, 5 hours. And it causes you cognitive troubles during the process, I've been having psychosis because of that psychosis stuff that I've been taking. And things has been not going my way, And I'm stuck. Not because I want to, because of those few seconds that took my eye off the goal. It caused me to fall, And if I wish I didn't, I wish I didn't. So I didn't do. And I don't remember what, but I know, someone did. Someone was, it had been something that triggered it to the point that I just went full blast. Because I dealt with all of these symptoms all my life. I've always had it. Just the reason why I always got up my ass whooped. And my mom was always that way, And it made it worse, but I don't know. But I'm in a bad predicament. And I mentally am not stable enough to work through it. I feel like sometimes the more a person gets successful, the evil they get. I met so many people in my time. I met so many personalities, and I don't meet the unlucky. I always meet somebody that's either well off or healthy, super healthy. And sometimes I see how healthy or how well off they are, and then I see how mean they are and how evil they can be, And then you look at it and you want success or prosperous living, and you want to go past success. But then you're afraid that you might turn into these people, I would never do the things that people do, but they do it. To be so demanding on something when these people, I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's random. need to learn how to be humble during this process. Because I'm not humble. I'm not humble at all. I'm more so opposite. You know, and it's just so many things happened. And so much time, went on with it. I will never look at everybody the same. I can't. I think I passed it. Because I know if they're going along with this program, they knew that me being homeless was going to be possible. And it's kind of cruel. Anyways.